A phone screen flickers in the dark. Its pale light casts shadows across your fingers, hovering over a message never sent. The words, reread 100 times, claw at you, pulling you back to loss. It's not a choice. It's a reflex, wired deep. Each tap, each scroll, a silent, desperate plea to feel something any other than the gnawing emptiness. The clock blinks. 2:37 a.m. The world is asleep, but you're awake, chasing a ghost that doesn't answer. This isn't new, the pattern repeats, a relentless cycle of clinging to what's gone. You know the weight, heavy in your chest, the pull, like a tide you can't outrun. Yet, the screen stays on. The message stays open, a wound you keep touching. Why do you return? What do you seek in their silence? A reason? A resolution? Or just the familiar ache you've learned to live with? The reflex runs because you let it. What does holding on preserve? Is it them? Or the pain you've woven into your skin? The urge to check their silence. It feels like control, but it's a trap, a snare tightening with every glance. Each look at their absence, a quiet nod to your own rejection. You tell yourself you're keeping them close, holding a thread to what was, but you're not. You're keeping the ache alive, feeding it with every moment you linger. The reflex isn't loyalty. It's a chain, forged in the dark, binding you to a version of yourself you no longer recognize. You feel it, the slow bleed of your focus, the way their shadow creeps into every quiet moment. You're not just revisiting them, you're revisiting your own defeat. Each revisit carves deeper, not into their heart, but yours. The mind replays scenes that can't be changed, and presence slips through your fingers like sand. Shame grows in the silence, not because they left, but because you've let their absence define you. The reflex to hold on, it doesn't rebuild what was lost. It erodes what remains. A system left unchecked. It consumes awareness, leaving only numbness in its wake. You don't see the breaking point, but you feel the fracture. Sharp and cold every time you check, every time you wait. The cost isn't in the moment. It's in the hours stolen, the clarity buried, the self you've abandoned to a screen that gives nothing back. You're not just holding on, you're letting go of yourself. Seneca said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A rope gripped too tightly. It burns the hand that holds it, leaving scars you don't need to carry. The weight isn't theirs. It's yours, chosen in the dark, moment by moment. Detach the thread, and the pull stops. Not because they return, not because the past rewrites itself, but because you return to yourself, to stillness, to a ground you've forgotten. The reflex to cling, it's not a lifeline. It's a tether, pulling you under. Cut it, not to lose, but to stand. What remains when you stop chasing their absence? Is it loss, or the first breath of a quiet that's yours? The reflex to cling, it's not devotion. It's a loop, a maze you've walked so long you know every turn. You know the cost, the weight in your chest, the fog in your mind. Yet the screen still glows, the fingers still hover. What are you waiting for that hasn't already left? The answer isn't in their silence. It's in yours. The reflex runs, but you can stop it. Not by fighting, not by forgetting, by choosing what you hold and what you release. The cycle repeats until you choose silence. Why do you check their silence? Each glance, a wound you reopen, a pull back to pain. What does one more look promise? Closure, or just another loop of rejection? The urge to know, to see, to confirm they're gone. What does it feed? Is it them, or your own fear of the void? Why draft a message you'll never send? The words pile up, heavy, useless, but they don't free you. They bind you, chaining you to a moment that no longer exists. What's left when you explain to no one? A shadow? Or just emptiness dressed as hope? The reflex to reach out, to prove you're still here. Whose voice does it serve? Theirs, or the ego's whisper, desperate for a response that never comes? Each pause you ignore, each impulse you follow, where does it lead? To them, or deeper, into loss? You feel it, the weight of every unanswered question, the way it drags you from yourself. A hand hovers over the screen. It could send, it could search, but it doesn't. The screen stays dark, no message sent, no answer sought. Stillness waits, patient, unyielding. But you keep moving, running from the quiet, chasing a sound that isn't there. Why? What holds you to their void? The answer isn't in their absence. It's in the space you refuse to claim. Rule 1. Break the reflex to cling. A photo lingers in your hand. Not deleted, not forgotten. The screen holds their face, frozen in a moment that no longer breathes. You scroll back, one more time, then another. The reflex is automatic. Fingers move before thought, driven by a pull you don't question. It's not about them anymore. It's about the weight you carry, the weight you choose, heavy in your chest, familiar as your own shadow. Each glance at what's gone, a quiet nod to loss, a surrender to the ache you've let define you. You know this. You've felt the pull, the quiet, gnawing pain that grows when you linger. Yet the photo stays, the memory stays, pinned to your screen like a wound you keep open. Why? Not because it heals, because it's familiar. A pain you've learned to cradle. Clinging. It's a system you've built. A machine that runs without permission, grinding down what's left of you. The cost isn't loud. It doesn't scream or shatter. It seeps, slow and relentless. Each time you revisit, a piece of presence slips away, stolen by a past you can't change. The mind replays scenes, moments, words, silences, and shame takes root, not because they left, but because you let their absence carve you hollow. The reflex to hold on, it doesn't keep them close. It buries you deeper, layer by layer, in a grave of your own making. You feel it, the fracture in your focus, the fog that clouds your days. Awareness fades, replaced by numbness, a dull hum where clarity once lived. You're not just holding a photo, you're holding a loop. A cycle that tightens with every look, every pause, every moment you give to what's gone. The weight isn't in the image, it's in your refusal to let it go. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment." The photo isn't the weight, your grip is. The reflex to cling. It's a choice you don't see, a habit you've fed until it feels like truth. Each time you scroll, you choose pain over stillness. Each time you linger, you trade control for regret, handing your power to a screen that gives nothing back. The system runs because you let it. Break it. Not by erasing them, not by forgetting, but by choosing what you hold. A photo, a memory, a moment. They don't own you. You own the reflex. You can stop it, not with force, but with a single quiet act of will. Start small. Withdraw from the trigger. Put the phone down. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Don't check the folder. Don't open the chat. Don't let the impulse decide. It feels like loss. It's not. It's discipline. A line you draw in the dark. The urge will pull, sharp, insistent. Let it. Watch it rise. Watch it fade, powerless without your response. You don't need to act. You don't need to react. The reflex thrives on your attention. Starve it. Each time you pause, You build a new system, one that answers to you, not to pain. It's not about them. It's about what you allow to stay and what you choose to release. The photo, it's just light on a screen. The weight, it's yours to drop. The hand that holds the photo, it can let go. Not because you're weak, because you're done carrying what doesn't serve. Clinging doesn't keep them, it buries you. A chain to the past, it doesn't anchor. It sinks, heavy, with moments you can't release. Each link, a memory you've tied to your wrists. Each tug, a step further from stillness. Cut it, not to lose, but to reclaim. The quiet waits, not to drown you, but to hold you. It's yours, if you choose it. Rule 2. Unhook the need to explain. An unsent message sits. Words typed, erased, typed again. The urge to explain burns, sharp and relentless. You want them to know, to see your side, to understand the weight you carry. Not for them, for you. The reflex to justify. It's not about truth. It's about proving you're still here, still visible, still worth something. Each sentence you draft, a plea to be seen, a cry into their silence. You feel it, the weight of their absence, heavy as stone, pulling you to fill the void with words. You think explaining will lift it, will bridge the gap. It won't. It tightens the knot, binds you to rejection, a wound you keep pressing. The cursor blinks, your fingers pause, but the words keep coming. Because you let them. Because you've let them for too long. The cost is silent, but it cuts, deep and precise. Each unsent message, a fracture in your centeredness, a crack that widens with every word you don't send. The need to be understood, it doesn't free you. It chains you to their absence, to a version of you that begs for their nod. Shame grows, not because they don't hear, but because you keep speaking to no one, pouring yourself into a void that gives nothing back. The reflex to explain. It's a loop, a cycle that runs on hope blindly, on the lie that their understanding will heal you. It doesn't. It steals your awareness, leaves you chasing a shadow that doesn't care, a ghost that doesn't answer. You know this. You've felt the futility, the way each draft leaves you emptier, yet the words still form, piling up like debts you can't pay. Picture a rope, gripped so tight it tears the skin, leaving blood where strength once was. That's the need to explain. It's not theirs to loosen. It's yours. Epictetus said, "You have power over your actions, not the minds of others." The reflex to justify. It's a weight you choose, a burden you carry because you think it matters. It doesn't. Each word you hold back, a step towards stillness. Each sentence you delete, a reclaiming of control. The urge to explain. It's not truth. It's the ego begging for rejection, desperate for a response it will never get. Let it beg. You don't answer to it. You answer to yourself, to the quiet that waits when you stop. Stop the draft. Close the screen. Not to hide, to release. The impulse to explain. It's loud, but it's weak. A spark that dies without fuel. Watch it rise. Let it pass, fading into the dark. Don't speak to their silence. It owes you nothing, no answers, no closure. Choose silence instead. Not the kind that surrenders, but the kind that commands, that stands firm. Each time you refrain, you unhook a thread, loosening the knot that binds you. Each time you say less, you build detached strength, a power that comes from within, not from their eyes. It's not about them understanding. It's about you no longer needing them to. The words, they're just air. The weight, it's yours to drop. The hand that types, it can stop, not to lose, but to gain what's yours. Explaining, begs for pain, silence, commands, respect. A voice whispers, "If I explain, they'll see me." Another answers, "You only need to see yourself." The first pleads, "I need their answer." The second cuts, "Your silence is enough." The urge to speak. It's a cry you've echoed too long. Let it fade. The quiet is yours. Rule 3. Pause the chase for validation. Their approval, it's a ghost you chase. A phantom you've conjured in the dark. A nod you imagine. A word you never hear, yet you wait for it, sculpting their praise in your mind. The reflex to please, it's not new, not fleeting. It runs deep, carved into you like a riverbed. You picture their response, a smile, a message, a glance that says you're enough. You wait for a sign, a reply, a memory, anything to fill the hole. It's not about them anymore. It's about the void you're trying to bury. You feel it. The pull to be seen, to be chosen, to be something in their eyes. Each thought of their judgment, a step further from your own ground, a step into a fog you've walked before. You know this, the ache, the need, yet you keep running, chasing a ghost that slips through your fingers. The cost isn't loud, it's a quiet theft, slow and relentless. Each time you seek their nod, you lose presence, a piece of yourself traded for a shadow. The mind bends to their absence, and anxiety grows, not because they don't see you, but because you've stopped seeing yourself. The reflex to chase, it's a loop, a cycle that feeds on hope blindly, on the lie that their approval will free you. It won't. It chains you to emptiness, to a version of you that begs, that kneels, that waits for a word that never comes. You feel it. The fracture in your focus, the way clarity slips away. Awareness fades, replaced by numbness, a dull weight where strength once lived. You're not just chasing them. You're chasing a lie, a story you've told yourself too long. Seneca said, "He needs little who desires but little." The chase for validation, it's a weight you choose, a burden you carry because you think it defines you. It doesn't. Their nod doesn't shape you. Your stillness does. The reflex to please. It's not truth. It's the ego craving rejection, desperate for a verdict it will never earn. Stop running. Step back, not to hide, but to observe. The urge to be seen. It's loud, but it's weak. A spark that dies without fuel. Watch it rise. Let it pass, fading into the dark. You don't need their eyes. You need your own, sharp and clear. Each time you pause, you break the loop. Each time you stay still, you build self-command, a power that comes from within, not from their gaze. Don't imagine their words. Witness your own. Don't wait for their nod. Breathe through the urge, slow and deliberate. The reflex thrives on your pursuit. Starve it. Choose non-reaction, not to lose, but to gain what's yours. Each pause, a reclaiming of centeredness, a step toward a ground you've forgotten. Each silence, a path to cold peace, a quiet that holds you firm. Their approval, it's a ghost, weightless, fleeting. Let it fade. You're not here to be chosen. You're here to choose, to stand, to be enough without their shadow. The chase stops when you stop, not to surrender, but to stand. Chasing their nod, you lose your ground. A shadow lingers, their approval, a weight you've carried too long. It pulls, not because it's real, but because you let it. Each step toward their nod, a step away from centeredness. Release the ghost, and the ground returns, solid, yours. Rule 4. Release the fear of emptiness. The void, it looms vast and cold. You feel it. The moment you think of letting go, the instant their absence becomes real. The reflex to avoid it, it's instant. A flinch you don't control. You fill the silence with thoughts, with memories, with overthinking, piling them high to keep the quiet at bay. You replay their words, their laughter, their silence, imagining what could have been, what might still be. Not because it helps, because the alternative feels like falling, like sinking into a darkness you can't name. The reflex to escape emptiness. It's not about them. It's about the fear you've learned to carry, heavy as stone. Each thought you chase, a shield against the unknown, a wall against the void. You know this, the panic, the pull. Yet the mind keeps running, fleeing a quiet it doesn't trust. The cost is heavy, but it hides, creeping into your days. Each time you dodge the void, you fuel anxiety, a fire that burns without light. The mind spins, and presence fractures, splintering under the weight of thoughts that lead nowhere. Not because they're gone, but because you've traded stillness for chaos, clarity for a haze you can't escape. The reflex to fill the quiet. It's a loop, a cycle that thrives on denial, on the lie that busyness will save you. It won't. It buries you deeper, in a mire of regret and numbness, a fog that clouds your every step. You feel it. The weight of a mind that won't rest, the way awareness slips, replaced by a dull ache you can't name. You're not just avoiding emptines. You're avoiding yourself, running from the quiet that could hold you. Picture two paths, one reactive, one still. The reactive mind runs. It chases thoughts to drown the void, clinging to memories that cut deeper with every turn. It drowns in pain, lost in a storm of its own making. The Stoic mind pauses. It faces the quiet, unflinching. It sees the void and finds cold peace, a ground that doesn't shift. The reactive mind begs for distraction. The Stoic mind breathes through it, steady, deliberate. The choice isn't theirs, it's yours. The reflex to escape, it's not survival. It's surrender, a giving up of the self you could reclaim. Sit with the void, not to suffer, but to see. The fear of emptiness, it's not truth. It's a shadow you fed, a lie you've let grow. Don't run. Let go. Not to lose, to reclaim. The urge to overthink, it's loud, but it's weak. A spark that dies without fuel. Watch it rise. Let it pass, fading into the dark. Breathe through the quiet. It's not empty. It's yours. A space you can shape. Each time you stay, you break the loop, unweaving the cycle that binds you. Each time you face the void, you build detached strength, a power that comes from within, not from the noise you fled. The reflex thrives on your escape. Starve it. Choose stillness, not to hide, but to ground, to stand firm in a quiet that holds you. The void isn't your enemy. It's where you return to yourself, where you find what's yours. The quiet waits. It doesn't judge, not to erase, but to clear. The void is where it clears. A voice cries, "I can't face the quiet. It's too heavy." Another answers, "The quiet isn't heavy. It's where you find ground." The first trembles. "What if I lose myself?" The second holds. "You're lost in their shadow. Breathe and see." The fear of silence. It's a wall you've built too long. Step through. The quiet is yours. Rule 5. Command your silence. Their absence, it speaks louder than words. A sound that fills the air. You feel it. The urge to fill it, to overthink, to suppress, to react. The reflex kicks in. You replay their silence, searching for meaning, for a reason, for anything to make it make sense. You question what you missed, what you could have said, what you could have been. Not to understand, but to escape the quiet, to flee the isolation that presses against you. The reflex to fight their void. It's not about them. It's about the fear you carry, the dread of standing alone with nothing but your own thoughts. Each thought you chase, a shield against the truth, a barrier against the silence. You know this, the weight, the pull. Yet the mind keeps spinning, running from a quiet it doesn't trust. The cost is hidden, but it cuts deep, a wound that festers. Each time you react, you fracture self-command, the power to stand firm. The mind twists, and centeredness fades, slipping away like sand. Not because they're gone, but because you let their silence drive you. Let it steer your thoughts, your days. The reflex to overthink, it's a system. A machine that runs on fear, on the lie that answers will free you. They won't. They bind you to loss, to a cycle of regret and numbness, a fog that clouds your every step. You feel it. The weight of thoughts that lead nowhere, the way awareness slips, replaced by a haze you can't name. You're not just reacting, you're surrendering, giving up the ground you could claim. Epictetus said, "There is only one way to happiness, to cease worrying about things beyond our power. The silence isn't your enemy, your reaction is." The reflex to fill it. It's a choice you don't see, a habit you fed until it feels like truth. Each thought you chase, you trade stillness for chaos. Each answer you seek, you lose control, handing your power to a void that gives nothing back. The system runs because you let it. Break it. Not by shouting back, not by suppressing, but by choosing what you answer to. Their silence, it's not your master. You are. You can stop it not with force, but with a single, quiet act of will. Hold the line. Not to win, but to reclaim. The urge to react. It's loud, but it's weak. A spark that dies without fuel. Watch it rise. Let it pass, fading into the dark. Breathe through their absence. It's not a void. It's a space you command, a ground you can shape. Each time you stay still, you break the cycle, unweaving the threads that bind you. Each time you choose silence, you build detached strength, a power that comes from within, not from their shadow. The reflex thrives on your response. Starve it. Choose non-reaction, not to hide, but to ground, to stand firm in a quiet that holds you. Their silence, it's just noise, weightless, fleeting. Let it fade. You're not here to answer it. You're here to answer yourself, to find the quiet that's yours. The quiet holds. It doesn't break. Not to surrender, but to stand. Silence isn't surrender. It's power. A spark flares. There's silence. A flame you've stoked too long. It burns. Not because it's true, but because you feed it. Each reaction, a log on the fire. Let it die, and the air clears, sharp and clean. The reflex to answer their void. It's a chain you've forged too long. Break it, not to lose, but to see. The mind fights to react, but it can learn to hold still. The noise of their absence. It's a storm you've weathered too long. Each reaction, a wave that pulls you under. Step ashore. The ground is yours. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The pain of their void. It's not the silence itself. It's the story you've built, the weight you've added. Each time you overthink, you write another line, deepening the wound. The reflex to fill their absence. It's not healing, it's harm. You feel it, the fracture in your focus, the haze that clouds your days. Stop writing their story. Start writing yours, one breath at a time. Choose silence, not as surrender, but as self-command. The urge to respond, it's loud, but it's fleeting. Watch it rise, let it pass. Breathe through the quiet. It's where you rebuild. Each pause, a brick in your foundation. Each non-reaction, a reclaiming of power. There's silence. It's just a sound, weightless, unless you give it meaning. Hold the line. Not to fight, but to be here. The reflex thrives on your answer. Starve it. The quiet, your ally. You need your voice, not theirs. Silence isn't surrender. It's where you begin. A wave crashes. There's silence. A tide. You fought too long. It pulls, not because it's strong, but because you resist. Let it pass. The shore is yours, steady, waiting. The tide of absence, a force you've battled too long. Each wave, a pull to search for closure. It's not there, chasing answers. It's fear of standing alone. Thoughts spiral, loss deepens. A wound you reopen with every question. The cost erodes, ground fades. Centeredness fractures, not their silence, but your void's voice. Reacting, a system of hope blindly, binding you to numbness, a haze you can't shake. Epictetus said, "Control what you choose. Their silence, not your burden. Chasing, trade stillness for chaos. Break it. Choose your answer. Their void, not truth. Withdraw. See. Watch urges fade. Breathe. Quiet is yours. Pause. Reclaim ground. Non-reaction. Detached strength. Their silence. A wave. Hold the line. Be here. Starve the reflex. The quiet. Your foundation. You need your answer. You don't have to react. A door stands. There's silence. A room you've entered too long. Close it. The space is yours. Open. Waiting. The room of silence. A space you've haunted too long. Lingering feeds loss. Searching echoes. Fear of leaving empty. Each step, further from presence. A ground you've forgotten. The cost consumes. Awareness fractures. Stillness fades. Not their absence, your definition. Searching, a system of hope blindly, trapping you in numbness, a fog you can't escape. Seneca said, "Change how you see, or never change." Their silence, not answer, your choice. Lingering, trades cold peace for chaos. Break it, choose what you seek. Step back, be here. Watch urges fade. Breath, quiet is yours. Pause, reclaim ground. Non-reaction, detached strength. Their silence, an echo. Hold the line. See, starve the reflex. The quiet, your freedom. You need your meaning. You don't owe anything. A mirror stands. Their silence, a reflection you've stared into too long. Turn away. The truth is yours. Sharp and clear. The reflection of silence, a trap you've gazed into too long. Staring feeds regret. Seeking their truth, only shadows. Dwelling, fear of facing yourself. Each glance, further from presence, a ground you've forgotten. The cost consumes. Awareness fractures. Stillness fades. Not their absence, your shadow. Seeking, a system of hope blindly, trapping you in shame, a fog you can't escape. Epictetus said, "You're not thoughts, but who sees." Their silence, not mirror, your choice. Dwelling, trades cold peace for chaos. Break it, choose what you see. Withdraw, be here. Watch urges fade. Breath, quiet is yours. Pause, reclaim ground. Non-reaction, detach strength. Their silence, a reflection. Hold the line. See, starve the reflex. The quiet, your power. You need your reflection. Detachment is a form of respect. A thread unravels. Their silence. A knot you've pulled too long. Let it fall. The weave is yours. Open. Waiting. The knot of silence. A tangle you've gripped too long. Each twist feeds loss. Pulling, seeking nothing. Holding, fear of letting go. Each tug, further from presence, a ground you've forgotten. The cost binds. Awareness fractures. Stillness fades. Not their absence. Your grip. Clinging. A system of hope blindly, trapping you in numbness, a fog you can't escape. Seneca said, "No need to weep over life's parts. Their silence, not burden. Your grip. Holding. Trades cold peace for chaos. Break it. Choose what you hold. Release. Be here. Watch urges fade. Breathe. Quiet is yours. Pause. Reclaim ground. Non-reaction. Detached strength. Their silence. A thread. Hold the line. See. Starve. The reflex. The quiet. Your gain. You need your thread. Not doing is power too. A lock sits heavy. Their silence. A key you've sought too long. It opens nothing. Let it rest. The door is yours. Open. Waiting. The reflex to seek. A weight you've carried too long. Set it down. Ground. The mind fights. Learns. To. Be. Still. The lock of their silence. A burden you've carried too long. Each turn, a choice to stay in loss. You search for a key, but find only echoes. The reflex to hold on. It's not about them. It's about the fear of walking away empty. You feel it. The pull to keep searching. Each step deeper. A step further from presence. You know this, yet you linger. The cost is quiet, but it consumes. Each time you turn the lock, you fracture awareness. The mind loops and stillness fades. Not because they're gone, but because you let their absence define you. The reflex to seek, it's a system. It runs on hope blindly, on the lie that their truth holds your worth. It binds you to numbness, to a cycle of shame you can't escape. You feel it. The weight of thoughts that spiral nowhere. The way centeredness slips, replaced by a haze you fed. Seneca said, "You must change the way you see things, or you will never change." Their silence isn't your answer. Your choice is. The reflex to linger, it's a chain you forge. Each moment you stay, you trade cold peace for chaos. Each echo you chase, you lose. Self-command. The system runs because you let it. Break it. Not by finding their truth, not by suppressing pain, by choosing what you seek. Their void, it's not your worth. You are. Step back, not to flee, but to SCE. The urge to linger, it's loud, but it's weak. Watch it rise, let it fade. Breathe through the quiet. It's not barren, it's yours. Each pause, a reclaiming of your ground. Each non-reaction, a step toward detached strength. Their silence, it's just an echo. It holds no power unless you give it. Hold the line, not to fight, but to be here. The reflex thrives on your search. Starve it. The quiet isn't your cage, it's your freedom. You don't need their meaning, you need your own. You don't owe anything. A phone lies face down. No glow, no pull. The room is still, only breath moves, slow and steady. A reflex paused, not sent, not checked, not chased. The quiet holds, not heavy, not empty, just yours. What remains when you choose not to react? A shadow lifts. Not theirs, but the one you cast, the one you've carried too long. Silence. It's not absence. It's presence. A ground you've reclaimed. You didn't answer their void. You answered your own. With a breath, with a pause. What drives you when you choose stillness over chaos? The urge to cling, to explain, to chase, it's gone. Not forever, but for now. Detachment. It's not loss. It's a line you draw, a boundary you set, a breath you take, not for them, but for you, deep and deliberate. Stillness is its own weight, solid, unyielding, yours.